Hey guys, welcome back. We've got Tori helping us out again this week because Beck's still away on placement. So if you've been following our handstand video series so far, we've learned how to confidently go upside down using the wall. We know how to correctly hold our handstand position, and we've also learned how to safely fall out of our handstand when we start practicing on the floor. So in today's video, we're going to start learning how to transition our handstand onto the floor, how to hold our handstand on the floor, and also we've got some different variations for you guys to try as well. So we have another warm-up routine that you guys can join in and follow along with us.
So this one's really important so that we're fully warmed up and prepped before we start our handstands so that we don't cause any injuries and have to take time off to recover.
So with the warm-up today, guys, we're going to start using the wall. So with a gentle lean, hands on the wall, and we're going to start doing steps, turning our hands out and all the way in. And keep switching forward and back, going. After you've gone all the way out, all the way in 3 times, we're going to do pushes off the wall. So here you want to make sure you're pushing from your wrist and fingers as well, so you're incorporating fingers in the push 10 times. Here's a good opportunity to practice your hollow back hold as well for handstands later. And once you've done 10, we're going to push our shoulders down for some shoulder flexion, armpits towards the floor. Keeping our arms straight, looking at our thumbs. And stepping close to the wall. Hand against the wall, turning, opening your chest. And other side as well. Try not to turn your shoulder in or out when you're doing this hold. And facing the same way now, we're going to step a little bit closer to the wall. We're going to do front kicks, 10 each side. Make sure you start gently when you're doing these kicks. And for when we start doing our handstands later, our kick to handstand. And other leg when you've done 10. You can use the wall to help you balance a little bit. And facing the wall now, you can have 2 hands on the wall, and we're going to kick 10 each side, sideways now. This is just prepping us for if we do fall out of our handstand, you're ready to do your step down. And once you've done that, we're going to stay in the same position first, just do 5 kicks backwards, keeping our shoulders up. And then once we've done 5, we're going to take a little step back, and we'll do 5 needle kicks as well. So for this one, shoulders coming down and legs coming up the back. And this is just warming us up for our kick to handstand later. And swapping out the leg once you've done. And 5 full needle kicks again. Jump. Okay guys, just finishing our warm-up on the floor here. So we're going to hop into front squat position. We're going to hold for 15 seconds. Now when we're here, we're fully pushing away from the floor, thinking about our hollow back position and opening your hips just a little bit, squeezing your glutes. And 5 seconds left. And once you've done 15, we're going to step over onto our side support now. For this one, if you are struggling to balance, you can separate your feet a little bit, but here you're thinking about fully pushing away, hips away from the floor, and you can have your hand on your hips, in front of your chest, or up in the air, either way. And all the way over into rear support now. For this one, hands are facing your toes, you're lifting your hips up high. If you can see your toes in this position, you need to keep lifting your hips up high. That's it. 3, 2, 1, stepping over onto our last side support. Good job. 2, and 1, finishing. And we're just going to finish up with some bunny hops, guys. So you can start on your feet or your knees, but if you don't have a soft surface, it's not that comfortable on your knees, so you can start on your feet. Here, you're just pushing, lifting your hips up, arms straight, pushing away from the floor. And I want these ones to be as controlled as you can. So hips up and slow on the way down as well. So we're going to do 5 altogether. Okay guys, in this section we're now going to start transitioning our handstands from the wall onto the floor. The first skill we're going to do is kicking a handstand with your back facing the wall. Now there's two main focuses that we're going to think about when we start practicing this skill. So the first part that we're going to focus on is the kick to handstand aspect of this skill. Now there's a few things we need to think about before you start trying this against the wall. So your hand placement should be about a foot distance away from the wall, and it might vary a little bit depending how tall you are. But you need to make sure that when you do kick to handstand, your head isn't touching the wall or your shoulders, and you've got to make sure as well that your hands aren't too far away because you're going to be leaning too much over. Okay, so for the kick to handstand, foot distance away from the wall. Now when you are kicking as well, you want to slowly start building that kick to handstand without just trying to feel for the wall straight away. You don't want to put a hole in your wall with your foot. So when you kick to handstand, I want you to start under first. If you don't touch the wall, you just come straight back down. And then you want to keep building a little bit each time until you feel your heel touch the wall, then bringing your feet together. Okay, let's do one more. Kick to handstand. And slowly bring the feet together. Good. So the second part that we're going to focus on for this skill is the actual holding handstand. So after you do get your kick to handstand consistent, I want you to kick to handstand, and we're going to focus on holding with your back facing the wall, holding for 20 to 30 seconds, and we're going to do that 2 to 3 times. Okay, so when you are holding, a few things to think about. So normally when you do your belly against the wall, you're a little bit under vertical. For this one we're practicing, you're going to be a little bit over vertical, and eventually you're going to figure out where vertical is when we start holding a handstand on the floor. So for this, you need to make sure that your back is still hollow, you're a little bit open at your hips, and that you're not fully arching, else that ruins this leaning over vertical aspect that I was just talking about. Okay, the only thing touching the wall is your toes, and all the other rules still apply as the other handstands. You're pushing fully away from the floor, looking at your thumbs, back is hollow, open hips. So next skill we're going to do is we're going to start kicking a handstand next to the wall, but the goal isn't to actually touch the wall when we're doing a handstand. So when you put your hands down now, you should be a few centimeters further away from the wall than you were before. Kick to handstand and you're trying to bring your feet together, finding vertical. If you do touch the wall, that's fine. It's there for you as a safety. You push off the wall, come back down. Now make sure when you're doing this that you don't move too far away from the wall, because it'll feel like you're falling a lot before you touch the wall. If you do start to tilt or fall in any direction, make sure you're always pushing away with your arms and your shoulders, keeping your arms straight. And then if you go over, your feet touch the wall, push off the wall. If you come back down this way, you just step down like we did in the other video. So now we're going to fully transition away from the wall and kick to our handstand, trying to get to vertical on the floor. Before you do start your handstands, make sure that you clear out any objects that you might hit depending on whichever direction you fall. Okay? So you practice falling out of your handstands. If you fall short, you're going to step down. If you go over, you need to be ready to do your pivot, step down as well. Good. So when you are trying to kick and try to find vertical, you need to make sure you're paying attention to which direction you fall. So if you find that you're consistently landing a little bit short, that it should be telling you that when you do your next handstand, you don't want to change everything in your kick to handstand, but think about maybe driving your heel a little bit harder when you kick to handstand. Also, when you do get to handstand, the most common way that people probably hurt themselves is that they panic when they do get to vertical and start bending their arms. So you're always pushing away no matter which direction you're falling. So the last drills were focusing on how to get to vertical without the wall. The drills we're going to do now is teaching you how to balance and stay vertical in your handstand. So a lot of the control that you get when you're trying to balance in your handstand will be from your forearms and your fingers pushing into the floor. So if you feel like you're going over in handstand, pushing down with your fingers is going to pull your body back, or if you're falling back, pushing your palms on the floor, trying to push your body over. So it's important that if you do want this control to work, you need to keep your body tight like a stick, so that when you do apply a force, the rest of your body responds. So you can see here, if I push this side of the stick and the stick is nice and strong, I can get the rest of the stick to vertical. If I do the same with the rope here, it doesn't matter how hard I can push this rope or how hard I can use my fingers, the rest of my body isn't going to go to vertical because it's all loose. So we're now going to go over some skills that can help us start to practice how to use our fingers and forearms and get used to balancing in handstand. So on the floor now, guys, the first thing you want to do is a crow position hold. So when you are holding this, it doesn't matter too much. You can rest your knees on your elbows, but the focus is on familiarizing holding your weight or balancing on your hands. So when you are holding, you want to try feel like your weight is at the top of your palm, so you can use your fingers to push one way and your palms to push the other way. When people do start balancing like this to begin with, they tend to lean a little bit back on the bottom of their palms. So what you can do is you can put a pillow in between your arms so that you can feel a little bit more confident about leaning over. So back against the wall now, guys. We're going to kick to handstand with our back against the wall. And here, we've got one foot on the wall, one foot off, and you're going to keep switching your feet. Yeah, trying to get used to balancing with your fingers. You can push off the wall a little bit with your legs for this one, but eventually you want to be able to do it so that you're using your fingers to stay off the wall and just continuously switching your legs. The next drill up from this is kicking a handstand again. And here, what you're going to do is you're going to push on and off the wall, but you're not using your feet at all. You're just coming off the wall purely out of pushing your fingers down, lifting your body off the wall, and coming back down, back onto the wall. So make sure your body's tight for this one, else it doesn't matter how hard you push with your fingers, your feet are just going to stay on the wall. So your body's tight, pushing out of your fingers, on and off the wall. You can do this the other way as well, so you practice pushing out of your palms, so belly against the wall. Same drill, but pushing your palms into the floor and then back onto the wall. I would do this 10 times each time I try it, trying both sides. So another drill we can do is kick the handstand on the floor, but with legs apart. That's going to help you balance a little bit easier, the same way that when you're on beam, your arms are out, you can find your balance a little bit better. So when you kick, you keep your legs apart. And here it's all about trying to fine tune and make fine adjustments to try to stay balanced. When you do get used to this, you'll be able to tell faster when you start to lean over and when you start to lean back. And then eventually, as you keep trying to balance, you develop your senses a little bit, so you only have to make fine adjustments when you're trying to balance. So hopefully one of the videos out of the handstand series so far can help you guys achieve whatever goals you have for your handstands. If you do get a hold of your handstands, there's plenty of variations that you guys can do to keep your handstands interesting. So if you do have any variations that you guys come up with, please take a pic or send a video, and you can share them with us on SHG Adult Gymnastics Facebook page. And we'll also have some challenges there for you guys to try as well.
Happy handstanding!
Keep fit!
Hey friends, have fun!